You are now watching The Lone Blown. Blown!
Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? You're back here at The Lone Blown, and today we're going to be going over a Malamar deck list inspired by Michael Kitcheron's post that I saw on Twitter. I mean, that guy is a Malamar genius. He's been crushing it up for what we've had of the 2020 season, and it's mainly been one of his pet decks. So I trust his opinion when it comes to saying that this deck has a chance. And after thinking about it for a little bit more, I think that we have an opportunity to have a Malamar tech deck. So this deck largely performs as well as any Malamar deck. And before I continue on too much further, this is for the Atlas POG 2020 Championships. So this is an Ultra Prism to Darkness Ablaze deck. There's a lot of other content that I've created on this channel for that format, so be sure to subscribe, check that out if you're getting prepared for that event. And there's also some cool post-rotation stuff that's getting posted as well, so be sure to stay tuned for all of that. Thank you. And, okay, jumping back into it, Malamar typically works where you get energies in the discard pile, you Psychic Recharge, and then you power up a box of Pokemon that can be powered up with Psychic Recharge. So we got Pokemon in this deck such as Giratina, with Distortion Door, Shadow Impact, 130 damage, a single prize card attacker that can be used over and over because it self-regenerates itself from the discard pile. We have Mimikyu here. Mimikyu can copy one of our opponent's attacks. That's not a GX attack, considering we're in a VMAX format that allows us to copy a lot of attacks, whether it's a Scorch VMAX, Eternatus VMAX, or anything else that's incredibly powerful. We got Latios-GX here that we use Clear Vision to stop our opponent from using their GX attack, such as Altered Creation GX on Arceus Dialga Palkia GX. We also have Tag Purge, which we can stop our opponent's tag team from doing damage in case Pika Rom's out there. We've got Ultra Necroma, since the deck does play Aurora Energy. We can use Photon Geyser for a lot, or go for a Sky Scorching Light. Milotic V is a great counter against Scorch VMAX with its Aqua Impact aiming at their retreat cost and weakness. And of course we have Rhyperior V, which is a Pokemon that's going to be countering the fighting type weak Pokemon in this format, such as Vikavolt V, and we also have Eternatus V Max. So overall we have a different kind of vibe of tech cards. Usually this deck is spell tag based, has more psychic based attackers, but by switching the energy count up to Aurora Energies and including an ever so important fighting energy, just because Rhyperior V is probably the most important out of all of these techs, I'd say this deck has an opportunity to see success one last time before Malamar unfortunately is rotated out because it is from Forbidden Light and it will not make it into our post-rotation formats. Other cards that are included in this deck are Jirachi. Jirachi just makes this deck a little bit more consistent, especially after your Pokemon are knocked out. You can send up a Jirachi with an Escape Board attached to it, and use Stellar Wish to make this largely inconsistent deck a little bit more consistent. Ditto Prism Star allows us to kind of have an extra Inkay, what we need to evolve into Malamar. Its only kind of spot in this deck is just to be an extra Malamar, but it's not bad. Other cards that we have in the deck would be Viridian Forest, so we can discard some of our Psychic Energies into the discard pile. Professor's Research for the same reason, and it's a consistency card. Cynthia, because Marnie largely doesn't matter in a deck like this, we have enough text to kind of overcome any deck, and the extra card is really important for us. I did decide to put in a boss order, so we could bring up whichever Pokemon we want. If our opponent's trying to hide with that Eternatus VMAX on the bench, or a Scorch VMAX on the bench, we could largely take those prize cards. Same thing with Great Catcher. You never know when there's going to be a Dedenne GX that allows you to just snipe for your last two prize cards. Got 4 copies of Acro Bike to make the deck more consistent, hopefully discarding some Psychic Pokemon. Mysterious Treasure. I mean, we could search out a lot of cool things with Mysterious Treasures. Lots of Psychic Pokemon, even Dragon Pokemon in this deck. Quick Ball can discard energy, can get at our basic Pokemon. We have a lot of basic Pokemon in this deck. Switches for Jirachi and other Pokemon. Ordinary Rod to get back our resources. And I mean, it's kind of weird that we have 3 Aurora Energies and 1 Fighting. The only reason why I wanted to include Fighting is because you could search it out with Viridian Forest, and this is largely, it counters most of the metagame, so I think it's good. It might be better to switch it for a 4th Aurora Energy at some point. So I'm going to say that this deck, it's not largely tested, but Malamar is a deck that I've had some experience playtesting with in the past. So I'd recommend that you give this deck a whirl. Maybe there's other techs, maybe the Ultra Necroma isn't working for you, or the Latios isn't working for you, and you want to see a second Rhyperior. Maybe you need a second Milotic. Play around with some interesting techs. Try to come up with a goal when it comes to those techs to knock out your opponent's specific Pokemon, especially when we're looking at the metagame. And then really going from there. Maybe that I could use another Viridian Forest or another Giratina from Lost Thunder. Largely, it's going to depend a lot on your own individual testing, what you see on day one of the POG event, and really taking it from there. But this is an option that's not really thought of. So shout out to Michael Ketron for coming up with the original concept of this deck. I did edit it a little bit, so be sure to check out the deck list in the description if you want to copy and paste that there. And yeah, thanks so much for watching up until this point. Have yourself a great one.
Really hope that you enjoyed watching that video. I totally enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like the video, share the video with everyone that you know, and subscribe to the channel as well. Totally appreciate all the support. We got a lot of cool things happening on the channel, so stay tuned for more. Be sure to check out the social links in the description. Thanks and have yourself a great one.